Continue our study of the 10 Commandments. Today we get to number 9. Exodus chapter 20, verse 16. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. We all know what it means. Don't tell no lies. A little more complicated than that. It's an interesting text in that it says, don't bear false witness against your neighbor. Makes me think very much of a juridical scene where someone would go into a court of law and lie about something that happened in order to get someone else in trouble, or maybe even to save their own skin by not taking responsibility. It makes me think of that movie a few years ago, great movie, A Few Good Men, that starred Jack Nicholson and Tom Cruise. And for those who don't know the storyline, it was a military movie. They were in Guantanamo trying to keep, America safe in Cuba, and Jack Nicholson was like the general of the base. And one of the soldiers wasn't doing a good job. So in the middle of the night, he commanded 2 of his young soldiers to go in and do physical harm. And eventually, I think didn't they even kill the kid? He died, right, in this abuse. And those 2 soldiers were on trial for taking the life. They called it a code red. They committed a code red against this other soldier who they didn't think was doing the job. And they were going to be court-martialed and in prison for the rest of their lives. And in the movie, Jack Nicholson, who is the head of the base, whatever his position was, I don't know if he was a general, whatever it was. Yeah, he was a general, I think. Isn't that right? At any rate, what's that? He was a colonel, thank you. So he was a colonel. He got on the stand and was literally spinning yarn. He was bearing false witness against these other 2 to keep himself safe and to get the other guys in trouble. And in the climax of the movie, Tom Cruise baits him and leads him down the direction where he says, I want the truth. And Nicholson screams, and it's really an Oscar-worthy performance. He says, you want the truth? You can't handle the truth. And so at that point, he ultimately, the hero lawyer twists the case around and they get Nicholson and he goes away. And okay, fine. All of that story to say, it's that type of a mentality where he was lying in order to preserve himself and preserve the base and preserve the safety of, the Guantanamo and at the expense of others. And this is what it means to bear false witness against your neighbor. Don't make up stuff to protect and to destroy. You see it. Now, as you and I know, it doesn't only apply to that type of a lie. Every lie. Every word that comes from our lips, every word as warrior saints, like we've been saying all week, we want to level up. We don't want to be like everybody else who just most of the time we always want to tell the truth. We don't want to be normal. We want to be better than normal. We don't want to be like everybody else. We want to be better than everybody else, striving for excellence all the time. Moving forward, moving up, if you will, all the time, leveling up. And to do so, you have to be, warrior saints, men and women of truth. That means universally, period, all the time. Let truth drip off of your lips, not any falsehood come out of your mouths. And the reason we say that so strongly, so passionately, is because it is like, all right, so let me say this to you. Very often people say to me, Father, if only you knew the real me. I say baloney. There is no real you. Like the real me that's in my heart or in my mind. There's no real you that's in your heart and in your mind. I cannot crawl into your mind, into your brain and see the real you, right? All I can see is what you give me. And if what you give me is false, you're false. You follow that. The only reality that I have from another person are the words and the actions that they give. That is real. Do you understand that? That is truth. And so we're asking all of us to make sure that every word that comes out of our mouths is true. Now, let's draw a couple of lines. Let me be silly for a moment, but so you can see exactly what I'm saying. If you are husbands or wives, whatever, you're planning a surprise party for your spouse, and you're going to take them to a designated restaurant where everybody's waiting and, in hiding to jump up and say surprise. That's not a lie, right? In some sense, you are lying because you're saying one thing and it's the other, but it is unto the end the goodness of keeping and preserving the secret, and it's ultimately unto good. So, that kind of stuff, look, it's probably not good to tell those lies either, but I don't think you need to go to confession for that. If you did, God bless you, forgive you, right? It's not that kind of a lie that we're worried about. To be even more silly, honey, do I look fat in this dress? That's scary, right? Like, that's a scary one. Like, let's not lie to the girls, fellas. But, you can see that this is not exactly what we're talking about. What we mean is that the words that we say are real, and that if in some sense a seed, they would give birth to a plant. They would give birth to fruit. They would not give birth to destruction or harm. Do you follow that? That's the key about telling the truth, is that, look, what I am saying is real. Here's another great image. I use this all the time. When we're talking about faith, right? At the end of a long day, we work hard, we teach all day long, and I call my beautiful bride and I say, all right, baby, I'm on my way home. And she says to me, hey, don't eat. I made dinner, right? Now, as we were talking about that in context of faith, I trust her, so I don't stop at McDonald's on the way home, right? But now the flip side is, because she said that, it's not about a dinner. It's about, I am preserving, protecting, feeding you. I am preparing for you sustenance. I'm doing something of value for her. She cannot say that and then bluff me. Do you understand? Does that make sense? Like, it has to be one of those things where when we give the word, it's true. Don't lie, don't bear false witness. And look, let's be even more mundane. Don't you ever flake. If you tell somebody you're going, go. Because that's your word. It's you. If you tell me I'm going to go and then you don't go or you don't show up, what are you? To me, you're a flake. You understand? Like, let your words mean something. You cannot ever let your words fall to the ground without a matching or a corresponding action. Otherwise, bil Arabi, we say haki. They're just silly, idle talk, silly, idle words, right? And Jesus is pretty strong on it. Let your yes be yes and your no be no, right? Like, he says it. If you say it, son, you better do it, right? So in the context of this is a very powerful thing to be when we are, so don't tell false things, i.e. Jack Nicholson, and try to get your brother or sister in trouble to save your own skin. Be a man, be a woman, take responsibility for it. But more than that, even above and beyond that, let the words you speak be covered with a matching action. And that's when you become real. And that's when I know the real you. Do you follow that? The real you is not here, not even here. It's when it comes from here and it's matched in action. That, beloved, is telling truth. You understand? So, and then of course, obviously, let your truth that you speak be saturated with the gospel of Jesus Christ, with a crucifixional life. That's the key, right? So you don't want to say things that are, and make things come to light and make honest words that are destructive. That's the point. All of that to say, it is not an easy task. Telling truth, being truthful, and having our actions and our words align so that the words that we speak are real is a very difficult and daunting thing, especially in a world out there that's like saturated with falsity, right? Like fear, hate, and lies are being peddled all over the place. You know that. We all know that. And it's something we've got to fight against. But that fight isn't easy. It's a challenge. And you don't have to do that by yourself. Sometimes it's okay to say, look, I need some guidance on how to navigate through these chaotic waters that is the world that we live in today. That's why I always beg you to go to warriorsaints.org and subscribe. So when you visit warriorsaints.org, you are going to come across one thing, and that is the way of the warrior saint. That's the only thing that's there. It is our online library. And all we do is teach. That's it. Every single day, we are working hard to prepare lessons to teach us how to navigate that water in truth and in faith in God, and as righteous, strong men and women who live crucifixional lives. The videos are, there's like this huge database full of all kinds of videos on all kinds of topics that are relevant to our lives. They're short, they're funny, they're practical, they're positive, they're hopeful, and it gives you like immediately implementable action steps that you can start working on today. You can watch them on your lunch break, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, boom, back at it. It's so good. It's so inexpensive too. Forget that kind of stuff. That's easy. Like 2 lattes. That's it. Do it. Because what it does is offer us some tools and some guidance and some teaching to say, I'm going to navigate through these waters the way God has asked me to. We love when people join us. It grows every day. We're so thankful. And all of us, as we start to expand this movement and become like an army, if you will, soldiers for Christ, we can make a difference in this world, in our own lives, finding success that we're looking for in our relationships, in our businesses, in our career, in our physical health, in our spiritual lives, in all facets of life. And we can also find that success spills over into the world around us. And I got to tell you, the world needs a little bit of that success to spill over so that we might find that peace that we so desperately crave. So I really encourage you, visit warriorsaints.org. All that stuff's on your screen. It's $8 a month, man. Come on, $8. That's it. So do it. Join us. We love it. Tomorrow, we will be back with Commandment number 10. Until then, we thank you for watching. Please do all the kind niceties for us. Share, ring the bells, like, subscribe, all that great stuff. It helps us. We appreciate you. And until tomorrow, keep walking on the way of the warrior saint.